So, welcome to the channel. Hi everyone. So, today we'll be discussing about LUCA, or the last acronym given to the last common universal ancestor, or the last common ancestor. So, let's begin. So, LUCA essentially is the most recent cell population or community of organisms that gave rise to the present life form that we see around us: bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. Eukarya belongs to eukaryotes. So the specialty of LUCA is that it is also the basis for the current cellular life, including the metabolism, the genomic content, and its all the common mechanisms. Okay, and it gives us information about the origin of life, how the origin of life came into being, and it gives us some kind of understanding regarding the common aspects and differences that we share. So, and let's begin with some key features, okay, regarding LUCA. Okay, so one of the key features of LUCA is its genome and complexity. So its genomic size is around approximately 2.5 to 3 megabase in size. It's really huge, that means. And it is the evidence says that genetic evidence says that there are around 355 core genes that have been identified, with around 2,600 proteins which are being encoded. So, and that is comparing, and you compare that to the modern prokaryotes, okay? And so this allows us to estimate its size and and its cellular features. And another aspect is the metabolism, the central metabolism. So certain like especially certain features like the LUCA is mostly said to be a strictly anaerobic organism. Okay, so it is said to have include is said to include or have acetogenesis, in the sense it can generate acetate anaerobically or chemototroph. So these are the mechanisms through which it utilize the energy sources, and it the and its metabolism. So it also possessed glycolysis and gluconeogenesis, which is the the anaerobic metabolism or the anaerobic respiration pathway that is common in all of us, right? So, but the major aspect is that it lacked oxygen, right? So there was, okay, and it didn't have photosynthesis or any of those processes. So it was very primordial, primitive life form, but it did have mostly anaerobic kind of respiration, and that's similar as anaerobic respiration is kind of seen in the present day prokaryotes like bacteria and archaea especially. Another aspect is the environment and lifestyle. So connecting to this point is that LUCA is said to live around hydrogen and carbon dioxide rich environment, especially in hydrothermal vents. Okay, and it is mostly maybe thermophilic in nature. That okay, so it would have a presence of enzymes like reverse gyrase, which is also seen in prokaryotes, especially and more importantly, archaea, because archaea is a group of prokaryotes that are similar to bacteria, but they are known to thrive in extreme environmental conditions, which no other organisms or living beings can thrive. So this kind of gives us that, so LUCA also shared these features, right? It would have a complex genome and complex and size. Okay, it would also have metabolism uh, that is mostly, and have certain pathways which are common in all the three domains of life. and the environment. Okay, so now let's discuss what are some of the evidences that support the existence of LUCA. Okay, or what? Okay, so one of the major evidence is the presence of universal genetic code, okay, and its biochemistry aspect. So we all the living organisms share the same functional genetic code and common mechanism for DNA replication, transcription, and translation. Strongly, it is pointed to share that there is a presence of a shared ancestor. Okay, and the next is the conserved genes and genomes. So certain genes, especially core genes that are involved in ribosomal proteins, central metabolism like glycolysis and storage of information, suggest that LUCA had relatively a complex genome. Okay, so that kind of correlates with the present modern living organisms like prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Okay, and another aspect is the phylogenetic trees or evolutionary trees that are constructed. So the conserved genes, okay, they based on the conserved genes. So these are the genes that are kind of seen or present in almost all the living organisms. So they are consistent. Okay, that means there are very less changes that happens to these genes and genomes. So conserved genes are very important in identification and find. Okay, so these conserved genes, they consistently they will show in the root system of the phylogenetic tree construction. Okay, and you can see how these conserved genes how they split up and into the modern domains of life. So it kind of the shows the evidences of the phylogenetic trees provide us with information that there is a presence of a single ancestor for all domains. Okay, with the identification of these conserved genes. And the other key aspect is that you don't have any fossil evidence directly for LUCA because LUCA is known to be one of the oldest fossil evidence. So oldest fossil evidence of life is around like 3.4 to 3.7 billion years old. So that postdates the estimated emergence of LUCA by hundreds of millions of years. So so these are some of the key evidences that tells us. So the primordial evidence for LUCA comes from comparative genomic analysis and constructing phylogenetic trees and finding out the conserved genes and certain common aspects that we all share. Okay, that all the three domains of life share. So that is why LUCA is so important. Okay, now let us discuss some of the fascinating areas where we find LUCA studied and it's so or correlated with different worlds and aspects. So one interesting is astrobiology and LUCA. So astrobiology is the field where you study the presence of life form in the universe, right? Outside Earth, beyond Earth, right? In other planets or moon and all that. So the evidence of LUCA that LUCA has been has lived a very hundreds of millions of years ago, and the genomic the complexity that LUCA has, it kind of shows that there might be like a possibility that similar kind of life forms, similar environments, and the environment also where LUCA lived or thrived. It gives us like encouragement for astrobiology that there might be similar environments that had existed on early Mars and Venuses, and you have the presence of that kind of environment still in icy moons like Europa. Okay, so it is a active research area of research. Okay, so it's there is a possibility that maybe there might be such microbial biospheres present in these planets or in this in universe. Okay, now another aspect is viruses. So viruses are also known to be quite as old or older compared to LUCA. viruses, most of the most dominated form of virus that were there during that time would have mostly been double-stranded DNA viruses. Okay, and viruses and LUCA would also encode certain immune systems or defensive systems like the CRISPR-Cas classes in order to fight against these viruses, because this virus would have definitely tried to infect or would have infected this LUCA organism, okay, or LUCA. Also the interesting aspect is that viruses would have also enabled horizontal gene transfer. It would have enabled the emergence of the modern cellular uh, st- uh, you know you know uh, formation, like modern cellular aspects. So this is really interesting feature. Okay, so whenever the so this kind of gives a pretty interesting aspect that is of with astrobiology and viruses. So I encourage that you everyone to see some reading material. So you have the material for astrobiology in NASA, so you can see that. And viruses also, this is one of the active very deep active research with viruses. So so that's it. So thank you for everyone for so I hope you guys like this video. This is really interesting uh, because it's one of the actively spoken topics in the scientific world. So so I'll be sharing some important materials in the description, so you can maybe refer that, or you can. Okay, so I'll catch you on the next video. Bye. Bye everyone.